Here we go. Hold on. All right. What's up, riders? This is Kevin Wilson with the BMXPERTS Podcast. Thank you very much for coming back. And Danny Pena is back on the podcast tonight. Thank you very much, Danny, for coming back. For those of you that watch in any regularity, I haven't seen Danny since I got whooped by Mike Miranda on the Christmas trivia episode. Danny, thanks for coming back, bro.
It was close. You barely lost.
Man, dude, you put a lot of effort and a lot of work into that, dude, and I'm very grateful on that. That was really cool, man.
I look forward to doing that again, man, because that was coming up with the questions was part of the fun for me. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to ask him this and ask him that. And before we started the live, you and I were talking about how many times I've actually rewatched that, man. I've probably watched it 50 times because I'm like, wait,
yeah.
Nobody's watching this. This is awesome. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, I'm going to bring this up before we get started, that 30 Knots Podcast bringing Greg Hill back on Sunday. And they say it's going to be the greatest one ever. And Greg never promotes any of this stuff. And he put it on his Facebook page today. He goes, I don't normally do this, but this time he's like, I'm going to get a lot off my chest today. And we won't see it till Sunday.
Dude, your volume's a little messed up, dude. You might be a little too far from the camera.
Okay, can you hear me better if I get a little closer?
That's better, dude. That's better.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I'm interested to see what he's going to talk about. He mentioned something about 1980 championships or something like that. So yeah, I want to see what it is. And I almost wanted to reach out to Mike and go, dude, can you send me the show now? I don't want to wait.
you gotta be on the paid wall, whatever it is. Patreon.
Yeah, we're not the.
He doesn't have a Patreon, but I was just kidding around.
Yeah, we're not that elite, so we're kind of like bottom of the barrel there. So,
dude, I just got my website 2 days ago.
I saw that. It's really good, man. I don't have any merch, but I looked at what you're doing, and I thought to myself, well, if I can get to the 1,000 subscriber plateau, and you keep smoking me, by the way, we were talking, you're like 100 something ahead of me. Then I can start looking at something like that. You know, are you going to bring your stuff to Dirty Fest and see if yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Dude, we should do a collab, dude. Like Danny Pena BMX Racing and BMX. We'll do a collab on some merch, dude. That'd be funny, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I can invest on some of that and just put it on your website or something.
Whatever, dude. DRP. You need to come up with like DRP or DRRP or something like that, dude.
I'll have to come up with something. I have some great race shots of myself, which I want to use as a logo, and then do something with with the lettering and the logo. And I've already been thinking about it, but
nice, dude.
I also don't want to end up with 500 T-shirts that nobody wants, so I'm a little worried. But we'll see, man. But your stuff looks great. I see you're always wearing it. I go, that's really cool. I like it,
dude, man. I've only printed out. I've only made like sample copies. All of those renderings are just renderings, and then I'm going to go ahead and print them out. My son works for my son makes T-shirts for a living, and he's going to print them out after I start selling them. Before I go too deep in buying them, and I get stuck with them. But hopefully it works out, man.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Congratulations. Hey, your channel's been looking good. Like I think I texted you earlier, and I'll just share with everybody. It's like I've noticed the level of your well, how do I say this? You sound much clearer, and you're definitely expressing yourself a lot better than you were in the earlier videos. And I'm like, hey man, he's a good storyteller. Like I could tell when you like what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate that. Dude, your sound's messed up again. Dude, get closer. You're gonna have to squat, dude.
Yeah,
there you go.
Is that better? I just got to remember to lean forward. Anyway, you wanted to talk about some things today. So what'd you have in mind?
So I was trying to do an episode. Thanks, Thunder Mitchell, for coming by. I appreciate it. I wanted to do an episode about talking about the best rider-owned BMX companies that they're in the 80s and that there ever was. And I had a couple of guys on, Kenny Kent Lowry and Danny, the other Danny V. And
Right.
my internet connection got all jacked up, so we didn't get a chance to get to it. But
Right.
you know, I was an SE guy early on, you know, and I've always wondered, like, what made me love SE so much. And then I kind of came to the realization that, you know, it was Scott, dude. It was Scott that ran that show. He was the one that influenced me because he was a rider, man. He was in the trenches. He was a pioneer, and that's kind of what attracted me to SE. And so then I started thinking, well, you know, what other cool rider-owned companies were there, and who was the best? Who had the best product? Who had the biggest influence on the sport? And then so I started thinking about it, and I came up with 4 contenders for the 80s and all time. And I guess I wanted to talk to you about where you think my list is. How do you think? I'll give you my list and see if you agree with it, or if you have any additions to my list that I didn't think about. Are you down for that?
Yeah, I've come up with at least 5. It looks like my hat's crooked. I don't know if it's the camera or if it's me in my head. I got like 5. I came up with 5, not including SE Racing, which is the obvious one. I didn't even think about that one, but I did come up with 5. So I could.
Okay, we'll see. I bet you we have the same 4 at least. I got 4. So
okay,
I'm gonna throw them out in no particular order. Okay, these are just off the top of my head. We got SE Racing, Haro, GHP, and S&M.
okay.
Those are my top 4 in no particular order.
I like the fact that you got our. I missed the biggest ones, man. Like SE Racing and Haro. Well, I have Tommy Bracken's Racing, and then Greg Hill, GHP, Chris Moeller, S&M. Pete Lonkarovich even had Lonkarovich Racing.
Yeah.
And then Reynolds Racing. I forgot, what was his first name?
Craig
Reynolds, yeah. So I know he had one. Those were the ones that I could think of, like, without looking at magazines or researching. I just came off the top of my head.
Now, knowing what I just said, would you change your top 5?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, Scott's the innovator. So he's obviously the number one guy that did it. And I've watched a lot of videos about Scott and how he was back ordered, and everybody wanted that PK Ripper. And I mean, I can't think of a better story. I mean, it's sad the way it ended for Scott. Don't get me wrong, but I think he was like the innovator of it. We wouldn't even have the sport if it wasn't for him. So, I mean, I got massive respect for what he's done, and I think Chris Moeller is up there number 2 because he's still owner operator today. You know, after all this time. And then, of course, Haro, but Haro switched hands. You know, it's been sold and so forth. You know, what do you think?
So here's my rationale, and if we were going to do just for the 80s, so if our list stopped at 89,
right,
my top 4 would be. I wouldn't have Haro in the lead. Okay, let me start with 5. Oh, let me start with 4.
Mm-hmm.
4 would be S&M, because S&M didn't come around until 86, I believe, 86, 87. So I would put S&M at 4. Then I would put Haro at 3, just because it wasn't a race brand, and that he wasn't a real racer. So I would put him at 4 or 3. 2 would be who else? Who else did I say? GHP. Okay, so 2 would be GHP and 1 would be SC.
Okay.
I think that arguably the GHP is the prettiest bike out of the bunch, the most pure racer out of the bunch. So I'm confident saying that Greg had the fastest and the most beautiful bike out of the bunch. However, it's hard to get over Scott Breithaupt influence, you know, starting in 79 or 70 or 79 when the PK Ripper came out. So that's my list for the 80s, right?
Okay.
If you go all time, from
right,
1980 until today, my list changes now, because now I put GHP at number 4 because it only lasted for 3 or 4 years. Then I would put Haro.
Right.
Then I would put SC because of the ownership changes and those effing big bike things. Actually, I would put GHP SC because of the big bike things. I can't stand those damn things. And then Haro because Haro has a great race bike now, and they've had a great race bike for many years, even though it's been sold. And then I would put number 1. What was left? S&M because it never changed hands. He still makes quality shit, and it's all made in America. And the influence he has on the sport up until today, I would put S&M at number 1. Now, number 5, I don't know who I would put. I mean, no one's even close to great. I mean, I get it that Pete had his own company, Brackens, even Reach with Tim Littlethorpe. There's a bunch of different guys that had little titty boutique brands, ESP, I believe. But that's my list for top 4. Do you agree or disagree with any of that?
I agree, but because I'm a Greg Hill fan, I kind of put him higher on the list.
Okay, what would you do? 80s, what would you put?
I'd have to put, well, Scott's going to be first, obviously, for me. And then I would put Greg second. And then I would probably lean towards Chris for third. Those would be my top 3.
Okay, all right. Nice.
Yeah.
So why would you not? So you would put S&M above or before? I already forgot my own Haro.
Well, let me rephrase because Haro. I even raced the Haro RS1 when it came out. So that bike itself was, I think it was awesome. I think, but when I think of Haro, I think freestyle. I don't know if that's how you feel about it. But he did have his moment in customization too. So it's hard to say. That's probably why I would put him. Maybe I'd put him third over S&M just because Haro was so massive. You know what I mean?
Dude, your sound goes in and out, man. Like if you move your head, there's the sounds changes.
I can hear the feedback. Let me turn down my volume and see if that helps a little bit. Because I can hear myself echoing.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
All right. Nice, dude. So anybody out there, did we forget anybody? Do you agree with our list? Do you disagree with our list? I think that we both have the what about all time? Was that your all time list or your 80s list? Or both?
So that's pretty much all time because that's all I could think of off the top of my head.
Would you change your list if it was only for the 80s?
No, I feel pretty confident. I will say this though: those Tommy Brackens bikes, they're really sweet looking, man. I've never seen one in person, but I've seen them like on Facebook and things like that. They were nice looking frames.
Rare.
Really,
Wasn't very many of them made.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having one just to hang it up on my wall. You know what I mean? I thought they were.
Okay, so this wasn't planned, but this just popped into my head. The 3 all-time greatest BMX companies from the history of BMX. What would you do? Have you ever thought about it? Top 3.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to write them down so I.
And tell me. I'll tell you if I agree.
Okay. And then I'm going to go with. My third one's a little tough. Oh, I know. Okay, here are my top 3.
Let's do this. Oh, you tell me your 3, and I'll tell you my 3.
All right.
Just your number 3. Just tell me your number 3.
Number 3. You want me to go third, second, first?
Yeah, we're 3. Then I'll go 3. You go 2, and I'll go 2.
All right. So Diamondback's my third.
I forgot about Diamondback, dude. Yeah. Okay, go. Okay, my 3 was going to be. My 3 was going to be Redline.
Oh, forgot about Redline. That's a good one.
We'll argue. Right. Okay, so what's your number 2?
Mongoose.
Okay. Mongoose, all right. My number 2 is Mongoose.
Yeah,
We agree
yeah,
on number 2.
yeah. And then number 1's GT.
Yeah, dude.
All day long. Yeah, all day long.
Dude,
Number 1.
there's no comparison, man. GT is the absolute king of BMX since the history of BMX. More
Yeah.
products, influence, dominance, everything,
Mhm.
dude. Nothing can touch GT.
Yeah, I mean, and I rode a GT. My first race was on a Mongoose. My first couple races, it was a borrowed Mongoose. And then I've raced a Diamondback, but I didn't own it. It was my cousin's. He loaned me the frame for a little while just because I was kind of in between frame. But other than that, that's that's how I look at it. Like, I think GT just dominated. Let's just face it, man. If you got to pick, let's say we go back to the 80s for a second. You, Kevin, can select any team you want to race for. Any team. Who would you pick?
SE, man.
You would go SE?
Yeah,
SE,
the bus, dude. I if I could go back in time, I want to be on that bus.
Somebody needs to make
What about you?
Oh, Skyway. I would want to be factory Skyway. I don't know what it is, man. Those red, white, and blue colors, and seeing those guys on those graphite tough wheels, and oh man, yeah, I would want to be factory Skyway.
yeah, SE for sure, man.
Okay, nice. I got another question for you, since we're just spitballing right now. Okay, so you can pick one bike from the 80s, complete build, that you could just, maybe even not a complete build, just frame and fork, and you build the bike yourself. Number one bike in your mind that you would want from the 80s.
Now, I did a video on this, and I chose the James C. Andy Patterson. Yeah. However, I could go for a GHP, or I could go for something different, like a GHP would be my other one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, I'll tell you right now, because I could picture this bike in my head. The Timmy Judge white hut with the chrome components and the white frame. I wanted that bike, dude. So bad. I remember looking at it in a magazine, drooling over it. I'm like, that thing complete was just amazing. I mean, I would love to have that, man. Yeah, I remember. I even tried to get. There was a bike shop in Hayward called Schwinn Cycle Path, and I went in there with my mom, and I go, I want to get a Hutch Judge series, and he had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, no, there's the Hutch Hollywood and there's the Hutch Judge, and he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I got a Pro Star. I can get you a Pro Raider. I go, no. That's the one I like. All right, I got another question for you, man. Okay, yeah. So now let's go back to the 80s again. I want you to tell me your favorite race uniform from the 80s. What's your favorite colors? What do you think?
SC.
Damn, you're SC loyal, huh?
For brown. Nobody made baby blue and shit brown look so cool. And the camo, dude. And the camo. Good stuff.
Yeah, the camo.
What about you?
For me, I really dug the Patterson racing colors. I thought those were so cool. They stood out so much, that that yellow, orange, blue, it just looked really cool. I like that. Oh, you know what? I was speaking of S&E, man. Like, I think about bikes from back in our day. I was probably like 12 years old, and matter of fact, I was in junior high, well, middle school, whatever you want to call it. And there was a flag football game at the school, and I just happened to go with my friends to watch the football game. And there was a guy there who had a baby blue PK Ripper, and I had never seen one before in person. I hadn't even just never seen one. Baby blue with black Z-rims. It was the coolest bike I've ever seen in my life. Can you think of a moment where you saw something that you were just like drooling over?
Anything SC when he came out with the brown and the baby blue, I agree. But I rode mostly PK Rippers growing up, so I would probably go with the quad the quads were pretty nice looking.
Yeah, I had a PK Ripper too. Mine was like that candy apple red. color, and I tricked it out. It had chrome Ukiah wheels on it, profile cranks, Boss bars. I just totally tricked it out. And man, I sold that bike for next to nothing. I think $500, and it was on old school BMX something or other, some website. And I was just in there chatting, and I'm like, "Oh, I got a PK Ripper in my garage." And this guy goes, "I want it." And I gave him my phone number. I had a flip phone. He goes, "You got to take a picture of the bike so I can see it." And I took a picture of it. He goes, "I want it. I want it. No questions asked. I just need to make sure you're real." And he called me, and I answered, and I said, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I'll ship it to you." And he sent me a money order. He goes, "Dude, please don't keep my money." And I go, "No, I'm going to send you the bike." And I sent it to him. That's the one I wish I really would have never sold that, man. I should have kept it and just put it away. I'm so. What have you given away or sold that you regret? That's my biggest regret.
Dude, but you didn't do this when you were a kid. You did this as an adult.
As an adult.
I mean, relatively recently, right?
I would say that was about 15 years ago. So yeah.
I sold my Andy Patterson for $500 to buy a surfboard. And
I heard that story. Yeah.
But I was 19 years old. Before I went in the Marine Corps. But yeah, dude, that's crazy stuff, man.
What's the market like right now for you buying and selling? Is it getting harder now?
Yeah, it's way down, man. Way down. Unless you got like the really premier stuff, I guess you do okay. But I put the brakes on, and I dropped like, dude, I dropped like $6,000 in like 2 months, like on bikes, man. So I had to put the brakes on my bike buying festivities, man. But yeah, I mean, I can sell them all. I didn't lose any money on them, but yeah, it's getting rough to start to sell them a little bit. Market's down, but these scammers, dude, it's screwing everything up for everybody, man. You can't buy a bike online anymore. You can't sell it because you sell a bike, you list something on there, people think you're a scammer. It's terrible, dude. They're fucking up the whole market for everybody, the whole hobby, man. And that's what got me so pissed off when I did that video.
I watched that video, and I was gonna tell you about this. Is like one of the biggest scams that they do is like on Instagram, for example. I don't use Instagram a lot. I'm kind of on Facebook more, but this guy messaged me out of nowhere. I don't know who he is. He goes, "Hey man, congratulations! You just won this bike."
Yeah.
And it's a picture of a GT Pro Performer. In the back of my mind, I'm like, how would I win something that I never even applied to win? You know, I don't know what he's talking about. And so I knew he was kind of like bullcrap. So I told him, I said, "Hey, listen, I don't like freestyle bikes, so you could just give it to somebody else." Right? So then he goes, "Oh, okay, no worries. I got race bikes too." So he messages me back, and he shows me another bike, totally different background, dude. Like, I don't know where that bike came from. And I can't remember what kind of race bike it was. And I was looking at it going, that's clearly somebody's bike you're trying to give me, right? And so I kind of played along with it for a second. I go, okay, so how do I claim this bike? And I had to like go on PayPal or something like that and send him some cash or, oh no, it was that WhatsApp app. You know, yeah, go through WhatsApp app and blah, blah. And then I knew, I'm like, yeah, sorry, man, I'm not interested. Just give it to somebody else. He goes, "Are you sure?" Like, that was it. That was one of the biggest. They'll get you with that, you know. And I know there's some gullible people, not to insult anybody, you know, but people are going to fall for that kind of stuff, you know. Like, oh yeah, maybe I want this. Maybe this is a great deal, when it really isn't. And you said yourself, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Dude, there was a DG Cruiser for $2,000.
Right.
Complete OG mint DG Cruiser. And I was like, and what pisses me off is these guys got 17,000 followers, 27,000 followers.
Wow.
And these guys go on their pages and they like and they comment like, "Oh, I used to have that bike," or interested, can I see more pictures? And then they share that with their friends, and it just perpetuates the problem. Like, I was like, oh my God, you guys, why? And there was even a guy on there that said, "Dude, this is my bike. Don't buy it." Right? And then people were still commenting, dude, I'm interested,
Really?
man. I'm interested. Good price. I was like, man, you guys, I can't, it drives me nuts how these guys will just forward these things. And dude, I've worked like hell to get 7,000 followers on Facebook. And these guys, and these scammers got 27,000 followers. I'm like, oh man, I'm so jealous. And I don't want to comment because I want to stay on the page. So I don't want them to block me. But yeah, dude, it messes it up for everybody.
So what's your plan now with your collecting? Is it kind of on hiatus while you're focusing on your channel?
Yeah.
For me, I've never really been one to want to build the retro bike so much, but I mean, I have a Skyway, but it's a repop. I have my GHP, which is my race bike. But, in the back of my mind, I do want to build something else, and I put the bike together in my head, and that's probably, but I'm very slow process with it. I keep bikes forever. I don't have a big collection of them or anything like that. And I got rid of so many things that would have been so great. I had a CW 20-inch. I've had a CW 24. I mentioned I had the PK Ripper. I've just had all these different bikes that I just let go because since they have no value anymore, you just sell them on the cheap or whatever to move on to something else. Who knew that the stuff was going to have any real value? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout out to Danny V. Danny V's dream bike was a Hutch too.
Was it really?
Judge. Yeah, Hutch Judge. The other Danny did the other. All right, man. Hey, so I think that you have a magazine, dude. Like for those new to the channel that haven't watched before, we have our little thing where we go through magazines and we talk about what he finds. Now, this is what Danny does on his channel. Now, Danny has his own channel, Danny Pena BMX Racing, and this is what he does as well as review BMX races, which looks like a lot of work. That's why I don't do it. But Danny does a great job at it. And so Danny comes on the show, and we go through a magazine that he has. He has his vast library and his BMX knowledge. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, man. Right. So what month we doing today?
Well, I grabbed a magazine that has no cover, unfortunately, because most of these old ones don't. But this is one from April 1984.
Okay.
And so when we were doing the little contest, with Mike Miranda, you were hot in 1984, dude. That was your year. Like I told you, I rewatched it, and I even said, dude, 84 is your year, because you were smashing all the questions in 84.
Yeah. And how we both missed E.T., I have no idea.
Yeah, when I listened to that, I go, I should have rephrased that question as what mainstream movie featured a BMX bike? Oh, and speaking of which, this is March, so on March 20th, Rad will be back in the theaters for one day. So for the last 2 years, I guess I've gone back to watch it. And I don't know, that movie's so corny, man. I go, I can't believe I'm paying like $10 to watch this, but it is what it is,
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Rad?
I've seen snippets of it. I don't want to watch it, dude. I don't want to ruin the allure. Oh, dude, I don't want to watch it, man. I've seen snippets though. And
Kevin, it's streaming on YouTube. Just watch it.
Okay, all right. We'll do a review, dude.
Yeah, we'll do it. Now you have to suspend the nonsense of it. Okay, I realize this is boring, but just to see the riders of our time on the big screen was really cool. Because I saw it in the theater in 1986. I was 16, and I went with my friend and my cousin, and we were excited. We were all wearing our race garb, to go watch it, and it was just a cool experience, man. It's now it's just nostalgic for me, But when I watched it, what were we thinking? God, this movie's nuts. But anyway,
oh man, dude. Yeah, right, I'll watch it, dude. I swear.
You gotta watch it, man. Okay, so the first page of this. Now, before I get into a magazine, just my technique. I usually just go through the table of contents, and I think I want to see what's in the magazine. So I don't read everything per se. But for example, I'll go, okay, we got Deer Whiz, Trackside, Racing, ESPN, Burbank. And then one of the things that's going to stand out to me on this, though, is the Racing and the ESPN series. That was huge back then. That's some of my favorite stuff to cover. We got they tested a Haro Survivor. There was a how-to training your brain with hypnosis. No idea what they're talking about. There was a racing jag unworld championship, freestyling front wheel kick turns, hot shot. Mike Miranda's in here, and outfit. So that's how I typically start. And what I try to do with magazine reviews is I give myself about a 30-minute window to go through the magazine. If I notice I'm getting past 30 minutes, I start speeding up because I don't want to lose my audience.
Okay.
On that. So there's some ads. This is basically a typical ad you're going to see. You got the Haro. I keep going backwards. Sorry. This is the Haro ad. And like we were talking about Haro being one of the number one ones for you as far as writer owned. That's a good example. I will give credit to Bob. I mean, he was really heavy on the advertising side of Haro. And I don't know if you know the backstory on that between Bob and Mr. Osborne, Bob Osborne, and Bob Haro. He wasn't a big fan of Haro going out on his own, and he wanted him to stay with BMX Action. And he told him, "You're going to fail."
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was in one of these interviews I saw. I'm sure that they've ironed all that out now.
Yeah.
But at the time, Bob decided he was just getting Bob was really big. He's an artist, a great writer, and he wanted to promote his thing. He already had the number plate, so everything was just blowing up for him, and he went out on his own. And they thought Bob Osborne's opinion was, you're going to go out and you're going to fail at this. And obviously he didn't.
Well, Haro just drew cartoons, right? I mean, what else did he do at BMX Action?
He was on the trick team.
He was on the trick team? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, so he went on his own. So, Dear Wiz, I'm going to read one of these to you, man. I want you to listen to this because these are so funny. Now, remember, these are people that are pretty much our age now, but they're writing these as kids. Let's read one of these here. Okay, Pro Earnings. This was a letter written by Darren Johnson out of Bernal, Utah. It says, tell my dad that somewhere, somehow, there's enough money to put up in the pro purchases to pay top pro BMXers between $20,000 and $70,000 a year. Please don't prove me wrong or I'm dead. What do you think about that?
I couldn't have. I mean, were pros making 70 grand a year back then?
Not very many, and you figure to this day they don't really make that much money.
They probably make less than now than they did back then.
Yeah, I mean, so the response to this was, let's see. Oh wow, that's way too long. I'm not going to read all that. But we know that the bottom line is this: is like I think the pros of the '80s and '90s probably did better than the pros do today. That's my opinion. I don't know how accurate that is. And one of the things that frustrates me a lot is the Supercross riders that are on the big hill. They're putting their life on the line, and these guys get seriously injured doing that. And for what? The notoriety, the chance to go to the Olympics. I don't understand.
Yeah.
There's the risk versus reward. It's really not fair. I think it's really the fact that they just love the sport like we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think personally myself I would do that. I think if I was at that level, I would just focus on USA BMX and stay off the big hill. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, check out this ad. Got a good, cool GT ad right here. What do you think of that?
For GT for the hubs and bars?
Yeah, look at the hubs, the handlebars. Look how tall those handlebars are. I don't know if you could focus on that, Kevin, at all.
Yeah, I see it. I love them. I mean, they look great. I don't ever remember having GT bars that big though, but they look fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that old stuff. Let's take a look at what else we got here that you might be familiar with. Do you remember Gear Racing?
No.
No. So this was I think who was promoting this at one point. Gear was really deep into it. They had like Mongoose under them, and Haro was under them, and there was a couple of other major teams that were using Gear. Personally, I'd never used it, but it was definitely pretty mainstream at the time. It was up there with JT Racing and all those other guys. Okay, here's a great one. Now, this is an interesting one. This is the Mongoose. I don't know. It looks like a Super Goose under $200. What do you think of that?
Dude, my opinion on Mongoose is okay. Let me put this in context.
Okay.
Mongoose got it right.
Okay.
And they kept it right for many years. Like my whole thing with like Redline came out with the square back, virtually a perfect frame.
Okay.
Then they went and fucked it up and designed an MX2 with the seat tube back and the head tube and they screwed everything up. Now,
right.
Mongoose came out and got it right for the time. I think Mongoose came out in 76. Redline came out in like 72 or 73. But when Mongoose came out, they got it right and they kept it right. They kept it right all the way through to the Super Goose. So I always have an affinity for the Mongoose. The 70. Now the 76 I think was a little shorter.
Okay.
I think it was a smaller frame. But the 78s, the 79s, the 80s, I always love them. I don't care when people say that they're heavy. I think they're great, and I think that they're bulletproof, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I've heard of guys saying, "Oh, I broke my Mongoose," whatever. Dude, I never saw one. My whole crew had them. I had a Jag. Same shit, just different paint job.
Right.
Different gusset. But my brother had a Mongoose and put that thing through hell. Mm-hmm. I always liked Mongoose, dude. Up until they went into Walmart, and that's when I. But yeah, I'm a Mongoose fan.
Let me ask you this: with Mongoose, I'm going to bring this up because I don't know if this is controversial or not, but do you think that Mongoose was viewed as a lower end race bike as time went on because of the big boys, Diamondback, GP, all these big guys that came out? Do you think Mongoose was viewed more as an entry level bike, or did it hold its own?
I think Mongoose started slipping around 87, 88.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think they were just as strong as everybody else through 85, 86. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there was a guy at our track in 86, 85, 86 that raced my brother a lot, Jeff Lewis. He was on Factory Mongoose. Yeah, dude, There was Mongoose had some good stuff. The pro class, oh man, come on, dude.
Great bike.
Dude. And that was in 85, something like that, 86. So yeah, dude, they started slipping around 89. After that, Mongoose was pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were quality bikes. I mean, Billy Griggs was one of their big riders. Eric Roop, all these guys were on there. They did great on Mongoose.
Wait. Billy Griggs, yeah, I guess he was on Mongoose.
He was on Mongoose.
Wow, dude. Okay, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy's been on a lot of major teams.
Shout out to Jason Chang on Mongoose.
There you go.
Former guest.
What do you think of let's look at some of the Amy grip options. You got the Amy Tri and the Unitron.
Yeah.
Now, I've never used the Unitron, so I don't have any opinion on that. I definitely used those, the second set right there. And that one's called the Round. That was Amy Round. So in my opinion, though, the most basic grip, the Amy Tri grip, probably the best one they had. And it was cheap too. I think you can get a set of Amy grips for like $10. At the time.
The Amy Round, the one that you just showed me, the second one, did that have like the perforated edges around the triangles where they were popping up?
Yes.
Those were better. Those were better than the regular standard Amy Tris in my book.
Yeah, they came out after, so you're probably right. They were probably improved. Yeah. I used those. So, here's some more. Here we go. So here goes the original one, the Amy Tri and the Amy Dual. So here's the Tri. That's the one that everybody rode, right?
Yeah.
And then here's the Dual.
Yeah, I never got into the duals.
Neither did I, but I do. That was this one here, man. I don't know if the glare is in the way, but that was by far the grip I used 90% of the time.
Yes, yes. If the Oakley B1Bs weren't available, yes.
Right, and they were cheaper. They were cheaper than the B1Bs, right?
Yeah.
And let's face it, man. I went through grips pretty fast. I mean, one fall you tear your grip. So
yeah.
That's why I didn't spend a lot on them. Let's see what else we got. Okay, quick question for you, man. Did you ever use these?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, hell the donut?
I'd have 10 donuts on each grip, dude. It was crazy.
I'm almost embarrassed to say that I did use those. I don't think they served any function at all, man. I just thought they looked cool, so I would put like 2 or 3 on each grip.
No, man, they put your hands exactly where you wanted them, man. They were awesome.
Yeah, if that's what you want to tell yourself. I don't know. I just never really thought of it. Okay, oh, look at this. Check this out. How about the original Robinson prior to GP owning them? What do you think about that?
Okay, the no gusset.
Yeah, no gusset.
I'm sure it was a great frame, but I'm partial to the gusset.
Oh, you like the gusset in there, huh?
Yeah. You know, one point on the donuts, dude. When we went to school, you had to take your donuts with you to class because if you didn't take them to class, your friends would come by and steal them from you, man.
Same thing with the pad
You come out with no donuts.
Yeah, you had to take your pad sets off, man. People would just take them.
Yeah.
That definitely happened. Oh, okay, here we go. What do you think of this handlebar, the GX Galindo?
Oh, that's Vicenti's favorite bar, dude. Never had them.
Never had them. You know what? I don't understand the purpose of them. They look kind of cool from a sense because they're different, but I never really understand the allure of that.
You've heard Mike Miranda bag on James about his bars, right? It's hilarious.
All the time. And you think he still has them. I think he still uses them.
Yeah. I think I had a Galindo Spider, a sprocket, I think. I think they made sprockets too. I think I had a Galindo sprocket, blue.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a Hutch Pro Raider ad. So this is your more or less your entry level Hutch Pro, Hutch Complete. That's a pretty sweet looking bike for $239.
Yeah, I still don't know. Is the Pro Raider and the Pros? Is there a Pro Star too, or just
Pro Star is kind of the top of the line. Pro Raider is kind of the entry level. And I was listening to Dirty Knobs podcast. I think it was their last episode. They interviewed Eric Carter. And when he got on Hutch, do you know he jumped on a stock Pro Raider and was winning on it, 1-piece cranks and all?
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, crazy. I didn't know that. But, you know, I think you said it yourself. I don't care if they're 3-piece cranks. I'm just as fast with 1-piece crank. It never made a difference to you. And, apparently it didn't make a difference to Eric.
Isn't that a big joke that he was the last person to make it on the cover of BMX Action with 1-piece cranks?
I think they said that. Yeah, I think they said that. You know, the cool thing about that interview was, and I didn't notice this, but when he was on Schwinn, I guess the geometry on that frame was not good, and they kind of Frankensteined it together to make it better for him. But ultimately, he switched to a Skyway TA and just painted it black.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah, I was like, oh, he was riding this, and it was Ricky Anderson's, I think, Skyway.
And he was the only one there, so no one had the ability to check him on it. He was the only one on the team.
Okay, this is an epic photo, and I love this shot. Check out Greg Hill here. Factory GHP. How cool is that, dude?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's from the ESPN Finals in Burbank. Greg won the overall for that ESPN final. And I don't know if you've ever watched the finals. It's on my channel somewhere, but the pros went 2 times, 2 laps. So have you ever seen that race?
No, I don't know if this is the race that I was at because I raced. Was this at the Equestrian Center?
You know what? That's a good question.
It had to have been.
It says it's in Burbank. Is that it?
So this is up for a conversation because the race that I raced was underneath the pavilion, and I don't remember seeing 2 laps for pros. That's the one that I raced, but I think that they had one outside the pavilion one year.
Okay.
Like next to the pavilion. I don't know if this was the one that I went to or not. I think they had a lot of them at the Equestrian Center, but I've never seen 2 laps for a pro. No.
Yeah, this was it looks like it says 1983. So I don't know, was that about the time you went?
Late 83.
It could have been. You could have been at that race.
I could have been there.
You could have been there. And it was like I did watch it on YouTube, and I cut it up for my own channel. So they do like, it's kind of like a lap and a half. So they finish where the race would normally end, and then they turn back onto the track and go around again. So it's the weirdest thing because you have to pace yourself. And a BMX race isn't about pacing yourself. It's like you just go as fast as you can. And they interviewed Greg, and he said, I just get behind the rider and I just keep a steady speed and all the way around the track. Because eventually they just gas out. Because everybody just trying to race the normal way.
And then he passed somebody, boom, hits him on the head with a hammer and passes him.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, dude, doing 2 laps. I mean, 1 lap kills me, even when I was young, you know. But today, definitely not.
No way.
Look at this shot right here. This is a great one. All the greatest riders of the time.
I see Stu.
Yeah, there's Stu right there. That's awesome, huh?
Yeah.
These are I'm going to tell you right now, man, one of the reasons why I favor BMX Action over the other publications is just for the pictures themselves. It's like you can tell Bob Osborne, Wendy Osborne, Gibby, all these guys, they just put so much effort in the photos that it just makes the whole magazine, you know. Now, granted, they didn't have Radical Rick, but you know the photos were just amazing.
What was Radical Rick in BMX Plus?
BMX Plus, yeah. Radical Rick was I was looking at Sean from what's his name, Rad BMX Builds.
Yeah, Sean.
And he has a good interview with the guy Damien who drew it out. I just watched it yesterday. It's kind of an older interview, but it's a really good interview. And that guy he's a great artist. And I think next to Bob Haro, you know, they can do anything.
Yep.
Let's see if we can find something that you might be. Here's something I know you're going to love. Are you ready? Bam! Let me go this way.
There we go. There we go. Let's see. What bikes are in there?
You got the Quad Angle, Global Flyer, and TK Ripper. So you mentioned something a minute ago, and I'm going to agree with you on this one. I understand that the big bikes is a huge craze. All the kids are riding them. And so I got 2 opinions on that. Anything that keeps kids on bikes, I'm kind of for that. I cannot stand the wheeling, dodging traffic. I hate that. I tell my kids all the time, I go, I don't know why they're doing that. Like, do you want to die?
We're getting old, dude. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a different generation. I understand. And I know we used to tear it up on our bikes, riding all over the neighborhood, jumping curbs, doing whatever. But I just never had any desire to play chicken with the car.
Dude, I'm going to piss some people off on this one.
Okay.
But I bet that 80% of the guys on those bikes never raced in their life.
No.
Never.
No. If you ask them what SE Racing stands for, they probably don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a big thing. I mean, it's cool to see it. I love to see it. You know, and sometimes I'll even walk up to a kid. I go, "Oh, that's a cool looking Ripper you got there." Oh, thanks. You know? But to them, it's just a wheelie bike. It's not like it doesn't have the same. It doesn't give the same nostalgia that it would for us when we're old. But you know what I mean.
And my brother and I were wheeling with no front wheel in 82, man. We were doing that. So it's nothing new.
No, you would do wheelies with no front wheel in?
Yeah.
Dang.
My brother came up with it. I don't know where he came up with it. And then he transferred to mountain bikes. I
could never do wheelies very well. Like I could do them a little while, but not like ride for miles. You know, I don't know if you could do that.
Yeah, I'm not miles, but we were good.
Okay, you want to see an epic shot? I know we're running a little short on time, but you want to see an epic shot here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bam! Look at this Kuwahara shot. And so we're testing the Kuwahara.
Okay. Is that a KZ or what is it?
I don't know. We're gonna have to read to find out. But look at that burn shot, dude.
Dude.
That is freaking. And I love the Simpsons helmet that RLs weren't running there. That 09 plate. There's so many details that I love about this photo.
Yeah, it's nice, dude.
This is a magazine I haven't even reviewed yet, so I'm probably gonna have to review it on my channel pretty soon. But it says here it's just called Kuwahara Survivor. I've never even heard of that. Let's take a look at the specs on this bike. Oh, wow. Here's a great shot of it. This is a beautiful bike, dude. Take a look at it. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's good.
Super clean.
Anything that's not a ET bike, I'm down.
This would have probably been, well, I don't know, man, because that movie came out in 82. This is 83. So pretty much right after the movie came out, this magazine came out. So it's pretty on point. Yeah. This writer right here, I want to point this out. What was his name again here, man? I forgot. Derek Garcia. Derek Garcia was a little guy in the 80s, but super rad dude. And this shot right here, you can see him right here boosting. So this was at a race in the ESPN series. I had this on videotape. There were pros that were actually pumping these doubles, and this dude like launched them, and he was like 8 years old here.
Yeah, I've seen that picture many times. Yeah.
That's an epic shot, dude. I love stuff like that. All right, let's see. The total price of this bike was $299, and it was 24 pounds, 3 ounces. That's pretty heavy by today's standards, I would say, don't you think?
Yeah, it looks like it's all the reflectors and the chain guard.
Yeah, it's just a heavy bike. What was when you had your GHP, or not your GHP, you had your JMC completely built up? What do you feel like? What do you think the weight was if you had to guess?
No idea, dude.
No idea. You didn't care about that stuff, huh?
No.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not a weight Nazi. I don't care.
Yeah, I could care less.
Okay, this is one of my only tricks that I can do, and I'm going to make you laugh right now, the curb endo. That's one of the only things I could probably still do, man.
Oh, you still do it? Okay.
Yeah, I'd spend hours, like I'm telling you, dude, hours outside the front of my house with my buddy Mike. God rest his soul, man, but we'd be outside just trying to do curb endo until my shoulders were on fire, dude. I'm like, I can't do it. And one day I just figured it out, and I can still do it now. My kids think it's pretty cool.
So we could do curb endos. We could do no-footed curb endos. We could do foot jams. We could do rock walks.
There you go.
Tire tap 360s, 180s, fakies. That's about it.
Man, you had a lot of tricks in your bag, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. As long as it wasn't on a ramp, I was okay.
Yeah, I wasn't like a good flatlander type dude, but I was pretty decent jumper. I think, but mainly, man, I was a racer. That was like my thing. You know, I could race. I was never the greatest jumper, but I could jump pretty good, especially at my local places. I could jump pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd get nervous though, man. I think I mentioned this in some of my own videos. Is one of the big things about going to a race, especially a national. I would look at the track and I would be so intimidated in the 80s, man. There was always a big set of doubles. There was always something that I felt like I don't think I could jump. You have to suck up all that fear and just do it. Otherwise, you're going to get smoked. And that was something that you don't really see now, because now the tracks are set up where you can pump and you can do everything without having to worry about launching. But man, I'm telling you, back then I was like, oh shoot, that was gnarly.
Yeah.
But I always figured out a way to get by. Look at this art by Bob Haro really quick, man. Let's take a look at this. That's super cool, huh?
That's so bitchin', dude. That's so bitchin'.
That is beautiful, man.
Dude, I got a bunch of his art on my wall back here.
Do you really?
Yeah, hold on, let me see.
Oh, you do?
What I did was one year for Christmas, I think my wife printed them out on poster board for me, and I had them printed out at Walmart, and I had them framed. Sorry, Bob, I might owe you money. But yeah, I stole it.
Man, your wife's awesome. That's a great gift. That is. Oh, okay. I know we're running out of time, Kev, but check out this GT ad. Bam! Look at that. Oh, okay, now take a look at this for a second, Kev, and I want you to understand something it's something I talk about a lot. Do you see how easy it is to identify what team that is?
Yeah.
Now think about today's uniform. You can't tell. No, I think who's the best at it? I think Chase. Chase is really good. Daylight Cycles, they're kind of easy to identify, but other than that, man, it starts to get kind of it's just mash of colors. It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
And I mean,
you have a point, man, because yeah, they're all like just all the colors just kind of blend together all the time. There's no real definition to it. Yeah.
okay, now what's your opinion on Huffy? What did you think of Huffy?
I fucking hated Huffy, dude.
Why do you hate Huffy, man?
No, I don't hate him now. I hated him back then.
What was your reason behind that? Because it was a store-bought.
Dude, they suck, dude. No one wanted Huffy, man.
You know, I would have to give props to the kids that would show up at a BMX track on a Huffy. That takes guts, man, to show up on one of those mild steel bikes, you know, and the short cranks. But if that's what they have, they ran it, you know. And I'm going to tell you, though, man, it was about 1985. I was on a Skyway, and I was in one of my motos. And this kid, he rolled up, and it was on a Huffy. And everybody was looking at him. And, you know, the tendency for a lot of BMX kids is to talk a lot of crap, you know. And these guys came up to him. They go, "Hey, did you just start racing?" He goes, "Yeah, my grandpa said if I do good, he's going to buy me a new bike." And everybody was super cool to him. And that was one of the moments that I really liked, because coming up as a BMX racer, man, I've talked about this. It's another topic, but there were some real douchebags, kids that were already doing really well. They were real assholes. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever experienced that.
Maybe I was the asshole, dude. I don't know.
No, man, I'm just telling you, dude. It was like they look down on kids that are riding bikes that are not the highest quality or whatever, you know. And we all start off, you know, like we all start out that way, you know.
I'm sorry to the BMX gods if I was one of them. I hope I wasn't one of them. No, there was a girl that went to our school, and she rode a Huffy, and we kind of didn't like her a little bit, so we called her Huffy. So every time she'd come by, we go, "Hey, what's up, Huffy? What's up, Huffy?" Like a pejorative.
Yeah, dude. Maybe you were kind of.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to the BMX gods.
No, it's all right, man. We all kind of went through it, but I, you know, when I first started out, and I mentioned this in a video, actually very recently, one of the hardest things to do is to go to a BMX race for the first time, and you've never raced before. Maybe your equipment's not good. You don't have the gear. You're certainly not as fast as everybody, and everybody's friends with everybody, and you're just on this island by yourself. You know, it's difficult, man, to go to a race for the first time. I remember, man, very clearly how scared I was. You know, being in staging and all of a sudden feel like I had to go pee. I'm like, I'm so freaking scared. I feel like I have to pee. But
dude, I wasn't scared at all, dude. I was so jazzed and pumped. I thought I was gonna win the race, dude. I was like, yeah, man, I've waited too long for this day. I'm gonna kick some ass. And I get on the gate with 16 experts, and I get smoked.
You started kind of late in life, though. You were like 16 already.
Yeah.
See, I was 12 years old, man. I was
okay. Different story.
Yeah, but I got to tell you though, and this is something that I've told a lot of people is, especially when I see kids at a race now and they look super nervous, and I'm in staging, you know, and I'll look at that kid and I go, "Hey, guess what? Are you nervous?" They go, "Yeah." I go, "Oh no," I'll say, "Are you nervous?" They go, "Yeah." I go, "Guess what?" He goes, "What?" The minute the gate drops, you're not going to be nervous. It just goes away. Yeah. He goes, "Really?" I go, "No, you're just going to have fun. Just go race." And I've told that to a lot of little kids, because I can kind of tell who's new, you know, and I always tell them that. "Are you nervous?" "Yeah." I'm like, "Don't be. It's going to go away in 2 seconds. Trust me. You're just going to be going and having fun." You know what I mean?
Dude, do you remember the endorphins and my whole body would become like buzzy, dude, and it was a crescendo as you got farther up the back of the starting hill. You started getting a little bit more, and then you got on the gate, and like, dude, my endorphins are just going boom, 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 boom. Dude, that was the greatest feeling, man. And then release, watch the lights, boom.
Yep.
I remember that, dude.
I'm going to tell you something else that I'm going to share with you. I've never even talked about this on my channel. Is there's a thing called the runner's high, which means runners get it like joggers, and where they just get that high where they just don't get tired and they can just go, right? That happens sometimes in BMX, and I'm going to tell you how it feels to me. is when I'm on a high and I'm riding a natural high, I don't get tired. I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any leg pump, nothing. And the race is over like that. And I'm spinning to the finish line. And that's happened to me only a few times. But I know exactly what it feels like. I go, damn, I didn't even feel tired. Like when you're done, you start breathing heavy because your body starts calming down. But I've experienced that a few times. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that where you laser. It's
every
amazing.
race, dude. Every race.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't remember ever being tired. Now, granted, I was 45 years younger, but I don't remember ever being tired at all, dude. At all. No.
Yeah, you could just spin and just be good, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was 16, 17 years old, 180 pounds, 5'11", 6 feet tall. I mean, I was a lot different back then, but yeah, dude, it was phenomenal. The high, just my whole body was alive, dude. And I'm on the gate trying to make sure that your pedals are just right. And your knobbies get stuck in the gate, and you're like, no, I wanted just a little bit more to the left. So you got to pull it out and turn your wheel. Yeah, dude. Awesome shit, dude. I love it.
You described that to me perfectly, dude. Because I remember the gate would start coming up, and I would kind of wedge my tire into it and find that sweet spot. And I go, oh, I'm locked in. I sit down, balance.
Yes. I wasn't even talking about that, but you're absolutely right. Because if you put your tire against it and it comes up, you're locked in, and you don't have to balance so much. It kind of helps.
Right.
It kind of helps you balance. Yeah, it's good stuff.
To this day, that still works, by the way.
Yeah, it still works.
Yeah, I haven't raced in probably 2 years. I really want to race this summer. It's on my agenda to get back out there. The first time I came back, I was 42 years old, and there's a big difference. Because now you're older, so you feel everything a lot more than you did when you were like a teenager. So psychologically, you're like, I just got to get through this race. I just got to finish because you can feel the fatigue. And I feel like I'm in decent shape, but BMX will test you, man. Like it's not like any other sport. Like it'll test you quickly. You can look foolish very fast if you're not, prepared to race and whatnot.
Dude, there's a clip of me racing the first Dirty Fest. And I'm on my 96 Power Light P51. And I think I'm doing awesome, dude. Like my third race was by far my best race. But dude, I coasted half of the track. All my friends will say, dude, you didn't even pedal, man. Like my legs. I'm a big guy now. I'm 6'2" and I'm big. Yeah. But I mean, I'm a 20-inch. And my legs weren't limber enough to move the pedal. So I basically just coasted. But dude, I swooped a couple dudes just coasting, man. But it was fun. It was fun. It was good stuff.
Well, Kev, man, I took about an hour of your time, man. It's always like,
oh, you went okay? All right, man. Cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man, and I always look forward to our meetings. You know what I mean? That's I got to catch up to you though, man. You're my inspiration. Because you've been racing to get those subscribers, man.
Oh man, dude, I tell you, man. For any that watches this video. Danny puts way more effort into his content than I do. Everybody should go and subscribe to Danny's channel. Good stuff, man. And I appreciate Danny. I appreciate your feedback, your outlook, and coming on and talking BMX with me. And I appreciate it so much.
Hey, no problem, man. Always a pleasure.
So thank you very much, Danny. And just to let you guys know that I do have a website now. I did it in reverse. Normally people get a website and then they start a podcast. I started a podcast and then I just got my website done. So I've been asked a couple of times for merch. I have merch. If you'd like to join me on the channel, if you'd like to contact me for any reason, if you have a story that you don't want to come on the show, but you want to share it, email me through the website and I will share your story. I shared a couple stories already from a female subscriber. I'll do the same thing for you. Anything that you guys got an idea for a show, want to contact me, tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me that big BMX bikes are cool. Go for it. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Until next week, the track is closed. Danny Pena, the original Danny. Thanks a lot, buddy. Peace out.
Definitely. See you
All
later,
right,
man.
later, bye.